earlier in the day that I reported on, the ARCA here, the New York Stock Exchange, reported problems with processing the tape C. Tape C is NASDAQ earlier in a number of symbols in a fairly narrow range from a roughly T through Z. The NYSE then said those issues had been resolved, and it looked like it went away. The actual statement from NASDAQ says that NASDAQ is currently experiencing issues with quote submission to the UTP. Now, the UTP is unlisted trading privileges. It's the electronic network that provides quotes and trades for NASDAQ itself. So there's something going on with the quote dissemination. Quotes aren't getting out or into the system right now. This is obviously some kind of technology glitch, and I've messaged them just like you have and waiting for some kind of answer on what exactly is going on. That's virtually all we know right now. But something happened earlier in the day around 10:50 Eastern time as well. So it's not the first time today this happened.
Yeah, and Bob, and to the point, and listen, I know you're at the New York Stock Exchange, but we're seeing tick by tick in volatile, sort of very liquid, highly active names like Google, Netflix, some of our viewers have pointed out. They're slowing down. Their trades, if you look at their tick by tick, they look like they're in slow motion. They're hopped up on NyQuil or something like this. I mean, this could obviously, not like I know, but there are obviously going to be underlying equity problems here with an options issue, correct?
Yes, but the more important thing is halting trading in all Tape C securities. Tape C, again, is NASDAQ listed stocks, is a very unusual. That's right across the board. I've seen temporary glitches where individual parts of the tape are halted for specific securities, but it's fairly rare to halt trading in all Tape C securities. And Tape A, by the way, it's the New York Stock Exchange. Tape B is essentially Amex. Tape C is essentially the NASDAQ. This is the terminology that's used around here. It's fairly unusual to halt the whole Tape C or Tape A, anything like that.
Yeah, but if we don't know, if the NASDAQ doesn't know, guys, I'm just going to throw this out there. If the NASDAQ doesn't know, and maybe they do, but if they don't know the exact problem, they don't know the exact cause.
Brian, this is now going on for almost a half an hour.
That's what I'm saying.
And I got to tell you,
if they don't know the exact problem, then they're going to be very careful about what they do, because some people, they don't want some to get an advantage over others.
Market participants are going to react to this by trying to cancel orders. We don't know if those cancels will go through. Buys and sells, by the way. But longer term, meaning between now and the end of the day, assuming trading resumes, of course, people don't take kindly to these types of things. We saw that with the Facebook IPO just over a year ago. When there's any kind of confusion on whether or not people got filled in trades or not, they just walk away from them if possible. So I think that that's the kind of thing that we should be paying attention to. Also interesting to see trading slowing down on the New York Stock Exchange composite names.
And one of the reasons is the NASDAQ has requested it. According to what I show here on the Trade Monster platform, the request of NASDAQ OMX that they've asked for this halt in all Tape C securities.
I think the one very positive thing here is nobody's completely losing their mind here. You know, the market is holding up. The stocks that are trading are kind of holding up.
Hold on, Rich Repetto, Sandler O'Neill, who's an exchange analyst for Sandler O'Neill, very smart guy, joining us on the phone right now. We appreciate it, Rich. What information do you have for us?
Well, I tell you, Brian, I don't have a whole lot more than what you said, but all the NASDAQ stocks are Tape C, as you just mentioned, are halted.
What does that mean for our viewers and listeners? Tape C, what does that mean?
Tape C are the NASDAQ-listed stocks. Mostly, the majority are four-lettered symbol stocks, but they're all NASDAQ-listed. And the message from NASDAQ is that they call it the quote dissemination. They're not getting quotes out. And that appears to be that you can't trade if you can't get the quotes out.
So if you're, to Josh Brown's point, I mean, if I've got an outstanding market order right now, you're doggone right I'm going to cancel it, right? Because you're not convinced that you're going to get the best and fair price.
Yeah, the quotes aren't coming out, so you don't know where the best market is.
There's no bid, there's no ask, right? Right now, put it this way. Let me just take it even another step up, Rich. Is there any effective trading in Google, Microsoft, Netflix, whatever?
I don't. Well, NASDAQ I believe, only has the ability to close themselves, the NASDAQ market. So I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe you could trade these stocks on other markets like the NYSE, like that.
I believe you can, Rich. I am not aware that they're closing trading in NASDAQ stocks.
Oh, no, I'm not saying they're closing trading. I want to be very clear about that. What I'm saying, guys, if I'm out there and I'm hearing that there are problems with, quote, disseminations, why the heck would I put in an order to buy or sell?
Well, what you've done, there's 4 exchanges. There's NASDAQ, NYSE, BATS, and Direct Edge that all can trade the NASDAQ-listed stocks. Now, NASDAQ is the most dominant player in their stocks. You've taken that market out of there. So you've taken liquidity. The other 3, if Bob is correct, and I would believe he is, that you could still trade them on the other markets, but you're pulling out the one major liquidity center.
Yes, but again, to back up, if I'm Joe Blow at home, right, and I got an E-Trade or a TD Ameritrade or a Schwab account or whatever it is, can I direct the market? And I'm not allowed to trade equities, guys, so I actually do not know this. Any of the traders could jump in. Can I choose the market it goes to? Because if I can't, then how do I know it's not going to go to a market where the quote I may not feel is clean?
Right, and
is that a fair point? I don't know.
If you're a very fair point.
You're not getting executed at this point, so it doesn't really matter.
You don't think so?
No way.
But if you are Joe Trader at home, this is one reason to know that you should always use limit orders. You don't just throw an open order into the market at any point in time. Use a limit order.
They're not giving you that trade right now.
Well, my point is, why would you put the trade in?
You would not.
You would not put the trade in. But for a second, I think who this most affects, and I think right now, if you look at the NASDAQ futures market, which the futures are going to trade directly off the pricing of these individual NASDAQ stocks, you can't see where the stocks are. Futures are going to slow. Who does that shut down, John? The people we want to shut down, the HFTs, the algos that are largely tied into the price action off the futures in these stocks. So I disagree that this is awful for the retail investor. This really isn't. Okay, so you'll put your order in.
It just started.
At 12:30.
It just started. Let's give it a few minutes and see how much longer it goes.
When you say it just started, this is a problem. That computer problems have been in the business over 20-something years. And
have you ever seen the
before.
entire NASDAQ halted?
Yes.
No, not on purpose. Not a circuit breaker. Have you actually
I don't know the reason.
We've seen the NASDAQ halted obviously for
correct.
I've seen multiple
exogenous events. Okay. We've got a couple different players here. I just want to reset, folks. If you're just joining us right now because you've heard something's going on, let me give you what we know, and then we're going to bring in all of our market reporters. Okay, here's what we know. As of about a half an hour ago, the NASDAQ began to experience problems, and this is according to the NASDAQ, with quote dissemination on some of its exchanges, okay, at both the Old Philadelphia options market and NASDAQ options. The last firm update we have is at 12:40, so basically 2 minutes ago, NASDAQ options market system update, and this is a direct quote from the NASDAQ. Due to the ongoing equity SIP issue, NASDAQ recommends that firms route all open orders away. NASDAQ is recommending firms route orders someplace else. If firms need assistance with canceling orders, please contact the NASDAQ Market Operations Desk. When the NASDAQ is telling people, okay, to go to another exchange effectively, it's a serious issue. We've got Bob Pisani here. We've got Bertha Coombs, who is just joining us right now. And again, Bob, just to clarify, these are sort of, okay, let's go to Bertha first. Obviously, to clarify this, these are technical underlying issues regarding system, problems. But Bertha, it's a confidence hit, too, if we just back it up.
It's a confidence hit, but right now it's really an execution hit. Talking to a trader who is very involved in trading a lot of these NASDAQ stocks, he says basically since 12:30 they haven't been able to trade anything. They have not been able to trade away. He says Apple hasn't moved. You can't trade the QQQs, which is the NASDAQ 100 composite spider ETF. At this point, he says he's never in all these years seen anything like this in terms of the whole market shutting down. We do have calls, emails out to the NASDAQ. I did go upstairs, bang on the door. They are not giving us any response to this yet. A spokesperson for the SEC says they are monitoring this situation and are in touch with the exchanges. But right now, this is a systematic problem for anyone looking to trade any kind of NASDAQ-listed stock.
Okay.